By chance, Khue stumbles upon a blood-stained journal detailing a sinister curse linked to the red shoes she now possesses. Her journey begins when she encounters the spirit of Lan, an ill-fated wife who was murdered and whose body was gruesomely divided into 6 parts, hidden in various places. To free Lan's soul and break the curse, Khue must find all 6 body parts and destroy them along with the cursed shoes. But will everything truly end when the flames rise?
The Horrifying Red High Heels Chap 4. At that moment, Khue heard slow footsteps approaching. She looked up and saw that the man coming toward her was none other than Mr. Tan, the owner of the antique shop on the street. What is happening? Why can't I move? Khue gasped, the fear overwhelming her like a rising tide. What's going on? And why are you here? Mr. Tan did not answer Khue. He walked to the woman, raising his hand to touch her, but since she was still just a spirit, his hand went right through her. The man smiled gently. Very soon, you will have a new life. A new identity. Once the sacrificial ritual is complete, the woman quickly responded, "Yes. Thanks to you for finding me such a perfect and fitting body," she added. "And this vessel is not only youthful but also very kind and naive." "You, what are you talking about?" Khue screamed in panic. The woman moved closer to Khue, smiling slyly, her voice eager as she recounted a story entirely different from what Khue had been told. "What you heard and read were all lies. In truth, I am the one who practiced dark magic. I wanted immortality, eternal youth, to forever maintain my beauty. To achieve this, I had to sacrifice the person I loved most. Guess who that is?" The woman looked at Mr. Tan and answered herself, "My husband, Min. For a long time, I hesitated and procrastinated. Of course, I didn't want to lose the one I loved the most. But then, one fine day, when I saw the wrinkles at the corners of my eyes in the mirror, I knew I couldn't delay any longer. It was at this moment that my husband discovered what I was doing and my intentions. The shock and despair in his eyes were evident. I couldn't avoid the disappointment and hurt when all my secrets were revealed." The woman sighed. "I told him about my journey, about seeking strength to protect our family, but in the end, falling into the dark path of black magic and suffering. The deception and temptation of power led me down a path of no return. And Mr. Tan, whom I trusted and loved, became my companion in the quest for power. But my husband didn't understand what I explained, or perhaps he didn't want to understand. He took my life without a word of explanation, without giving me a chance to apologize or try to make amends. He even divided my body into 6 parts, hiding them in 6 places so no one could resurrect me." The woman showed a look of sorrow, but fortunately, Tan escaped and carried with him the red high heels and the notes, the ancient book I had painstakingly researched for decades. And now, thanks to him and this sacrificial ritual, I will live again. And thanks to you too, Khue. Your kindness is the key to this story. Perhaps my husband never imagined that the vessel I chose could free my soul with her own hands. By now, Khue understood everything, but it was probably too late. It turned out the fierce man in the mirror she had seen, who had constantly shaken his head, was the husband of this insane woman. He had likely tried to stop her, but she had not understood his intentions. Khue felt a profound sense of pain and despair as she realized she had fallen into a cruel trap set by the wife and her accomplice. Mr. Tan, with an ancient book in hand, took a strand of Khue's hair and threw it into the ashes of the bones and the red high heels. At this moment, Khue realized that somehow, the red high heels were still intact. He recited a series of incantations that Khue couldn't understand, and she felt her body tremble. Then her consciousness faded into darkness. She didn't know how much time had passed when she opened her eyes and found herself in the antique shop. She looked around and saw herself sitting next to the shop owner, with a sharp smile on her lips. She was now dressed more femininely and classically. Instantly, Khue knew that the woman practicing dark magic had taken over her body. Khue looked into the mirror, painfully realizing she was now trapped in the red high heels, reduced to an inanimate object. "Look at this," Mr. Tan said in a deep, hoarse voice. "Perhaps we should find a vessel for me, as this old body standing next to you is not suitable." The woman laughed, gently patting his hand and saying, "All right, we'll find you a fitting young vessel." At that moment, the doorbell rang, and both of them looked over. A young male customer walked in, approaching the woman and speaking worriedly. "Finally, I found you, Khue. Where have you been these past days? I visited your house several times but never saw you." The woman stood up, walked toward him, then looked at Mr. Tan with a sinister smile. "What do you think of this vessel?" Mr. Tan grinned maliciously, clearly pleased with the choice. Khue, trapped inside the red high heels, witnessed everything in despair. She screamed for the young man to run away, but of course, as a pair of high heels on a shelf, no one could hear her cries. In the endless, dark abyss, Khue felt a deep sense of loneliness and helplessness.